In this demonstration, we are going to learn how to call a REST API with HTTP method post and send the request payload that is in the JSON format and get the response from the REST endpoint that is JSON and represent the data in the Oracle Apex application. Before I go ahead and tell you step-by-step approach how we can call the REST endpoint of HTTP method and pass the JSON payload in the request as well as fetch the JSON payload in the response, I will have a quick demonstration on the application. So this is the very simple application I have built with Oracle Apex. In the request, the endpoint which we are calling is accepting three parameters, that is the first name, date of birth and the second name. And in the response, I am having bunch of output fields. If you look over here in this page, I am putting a simple form wherein I am having three fields, that is to accept the first name, second name, date of birth. So this is just a dummy API or the endpoint I am calling. But in your actual use case, you could be calling complex integration or any other REST endpoint wherein you would be passing the business related information. Now in this case, I will be passing over here the first name, second name, and the output what I am getting from the REST endpoint is always the status. The employee ID is dummy, it will return always the same. This is just for demonstration I have built and other few details. Now let me quickly test this. I will tell BEENUM learning and the date of birth I will give today's date, that is 20th May 2026, and click on submit. So this is going to call the REST endpoint. I am showing the HTTP status code. I am getting 200. The status is success. This is coming from the REST endpoint response, that is this one. And message, if you want to show in case of error or something, you can show. Employee ID, first name, second name is getting mapped over here from the first name, second name. You can make this read only as well. This is just a demonstration class, so I have not focused much on the UX related part of this page. Employee ID, date of birth, age and HR I am getting from the REST endpoint. Suppose if I click on reset, it is going to reset the data in the page. Now I will show you quickly what is the endpoint I am calling wherein I am passing this kind of data. I have built a very simple integration using Oracle Integration, and in the request I am passing the payload whatever I have shown you, that is the first name, second name and the date of birth. So this is how the mapping is happening between the Oracle Apex and the Oracle Integration. And in the response, this integration will respond the status code, that is the 200, and the same I am showing it over here in the response, that is in the status field, that is the status code. And then I am having a status, the message it will return only in case if there is any error. Then I'm having few hard-coded fields like the employee ID, age and the department. Coming to first name, second name and the date of birth, this is coming from the input whatever user has populated on the screen. For example, I will again test over here with the data like LXT and I will tell 10th May of 2026, click on submit. We are getting the status code. So this is coming from here, that is the status code. If you want to show the instance ID of the integration, that also you can show. At the end of this demonstration, you should be in a position wherein you can call any REST endpoint, be it Oracle integration or any other non-integration REST endpoints, wherein you will have a requirement to pass the JSON payload in the request as well as fetch the JSON payload in the response and show the data on the Apex page. In order to demonstrate today's use case, that is how we can call Oracle integration of HTTP method post, we have to follow those steps. First and the foremost thing is we have to create the web credential. You may know that when we expose our integration over the REST protocol, this integration is secured and users will be able to authenticate the request, that is by using couple of ways. One is using the basic authentication wherein user could be sending the username password. Second method is using the auth 2.0. First thing is we have to create the web credential. In order to create the web credential, we have to click on the Oracle Apex homepage. We have to go to the app builder. From here, we have to go to the workspace utilities. Here, if you see, there is an option called as web credential. Click on this. I have created a web credential with this name, demo instance. Click on this. Suppose if you are creating for the first time, you have to click on web credential and create a new web credential. Here I have given the basic credential and I will be populating the username and password using which I will be authenticating my Oracle integration endpoint. Suppose if you want to authenticate with the help of Auth 2.0 client credential or by using the OCI native authentication method, that also will be fine. So once you have created the web credential, next is we have to create the REST data source. In order to create the REST data source, we have to again go back to Oracle Apex homepage, click on the app builder. In order to create the REST data source, it is part of the application. We have to get into the application and then you have to click on shared components for your application. Scroll down, you will see this data sources section. Click on the REST data sources. Here I have created the employee RDS. So this is the REST data source using which I am calling this demo employee int. So the endpoint you will be getting from your endpoint metadata. Like for integration, you can anytime go to here and click on endpoint metadata, you will be getting the URL. For non-integration products, you have to always get this data from the developer. Then I will be populating few details like the URL and all other things like what is the host, so and so forth. Coming to pagination, my integration is not supporting pagination. Suppose if you want to have the pagination, then you can select the pagination and define the limit, offset and has more criteria or the fields. So in detail, we had seen how we can call the REST endpoint with pagination in our earlier classes. You can look at the same in order to know more. Then coming to the credential, I have selected the web credential which I have created over here in the step number 1 that we have to refer. Then coming to the operation, I have selected the post. Then coming to the parameters, I have created few parameters, that is first name, second name and the date of birth. So these are the parameters which I am accepting in the request. So these in parameters I have created, and also the content type is application JSON I have hard coded, that is the static. If you click on edit, you will see that I have provided the application JSON as the in parameter. And the most important thing is response. So this is the out parameter I have created over here, and in the type we have to select the response body and out. So these are the parameters I have created. Suppose if you want to see the post operation, just click on edit. So here I have provided the request body. So you have to make sure you are providing the request body and the variables you are providing like this, like the hash, first underscore name, date underscore birth, second underscore names in this format. And the same first underscore name, date of birth you have to provide under the parameters. So this is the request. Coming to the response, when you are creating this data source, you will have an option to upload the response as well as a file. Let me close this. The variables whatever you have created within the pound or hash symbol like hash first name, so this you have to put it over here. So this is how you can create the REST data source in your application. Suppose if you are creating the REST data source for the first tab, then you can go to the shared component data source and you can click on create, and here you can go from scratch. Here you can provide the name, something like this. So in detail, we had seen how we can create a REST endpoint or the REST data source in our earlier class. You can have a look at the same in order to know in detail how we can do the same. So here is the URL endpoint I have created. Click on next. I will give the unique name. I think this name is already taken. I have given the unique name, so it will automatically identify that the remote server has been already created for this host. Suppose if you are creating for the first tab, then you will have an option to create it new or consume from existing. No pagination I am selecting. From here, you will be getting an option to select the credential, that is the web credential which we have created in step number 1. You can click on advanced, so it is going to open up the tab. You have to click the post. Here you will not get an option that is to set the request and the response parameter, but the header you can select. Here you can give the content type as application JSON, that is the static / JSON. Here you have to provide the request. So the request you can give something like this, wherein this you can bind it with the parameters like the first name, second name and the date of birth. Whatever is your parameter you can provide. In the example that is for the response, what you can do is you can provide the exact payload, that is you can create a file, JSON file, and you can upload it over here, or even the OpenAI document will work. And you can click on discover, it will be showing the data. Like if I click on discover over here, it will be showing the response. since I have not uploaded the response, it is not showing the response over here. So this is how you can create the REST data source. So once you have created your REST data source, you have to define the parameters like this one by one. Click on add parameter and you can create. So these names are unique as per the variables you have created in the request payload. So with this set, our step number 2 will be completed, that is creating the data source. So these two things are very important. If you are going wrong over here, then you will be encountering the issue while building the Oracle Apex page. So once you have created the REST data source, next is you have to consume the same in the page. Now this is the page which I am using in order to represent this data. Basically, I'm having three sections. One section is to show the request, which is having the first name, second name, and the date of birth. So these are the text fields. So these are the fields or the page items I have added in order to accept the data or the input from the user. Next, I'm having couple of buttons. I will come to reset at the end. Submit is the most important button which I'm having in order to call the REST API or the integration. So I will come to submit after the response. So the response region I'm using in order to represent this form, wherein I'm having the status code, which is used to represent the status code, that is the HTTP header status code, that is 200, 400. Status, message, all other things, whatever you're seeing is mapped to the response JSON key. Now coming to the most important part, that is the submit button. I have placed it over here under the slot create, and its action is basically to submit the page. On click of this submit, I have created a process over here. If you click on this, so whenever we are pressing the submit button, so this process will be triggered. So that is the when button is pressed, that is submit. So this server side condition, whenever it is met, it is executing this process. Now this process is the most important thing. If you see over here, I have created few local variables and I'm mapping the values whatever user has entered in the first name, date of birth, second name. So these are the page items I have created over here in the request region. So this I'm mapping to the date of birth, first name and the second name. So these are the parameters we have created in the REST data source. That's the reason you have to exactly match with the names. So these are the case sensitive. I'm making use of Apex execute and the add parameters in order to map the page items to the parameters over here. So we are making use of low code capabilities of Oracle Apex over here and not hard coding anything on the PL SQL. Next, we are making use of execute REST source. So this is the procedure available in this package, wherein I'm making use of employee RDS. So this is something you have to get from the REST data source configuration. So I will show you how we can get this static ID for the REST data source. If you click on this REST data source, go to the advanced, here you will be getting the static ID. So this is the same static ID which you have to populate over here. For more details, you can have a look at this procedure to know how to populate the details. Next, I'm calling the post HTTP method because the integration which I'm calling, it is exposed over the HTTP method post. Next, I'm mapping the L parameters. So as soon as you refer to the L parameters, the configuration like how the parameters have to be mapped to integration is defined in the REST data source, that is over here. If you go to the show all and if you click on this edit post, so these parameters will be sent to this integration using the JSON payload. So like this, it is going to map. So this is what the mapping will happen behind the scene in Oracle Apex. Once we get the response from this integration, we are mapping the status code. So behind the scene execute, that is Apex execute, is making use of Apex web service. So we can make use of this as well in order to extract the status code. So this I am populating over here in the status code page item. So this is the page item which is used to show the status code. Next, I'm mapping the response. So response, if you remember, we had created the response parameter in the REST data source, that's over here. So response is the response body, that is out. So this I'm mapping to the parameter in the REST data source. So once we have mapped, then it is very easy to extract using the JSON value. So this is one of the procedures available in the Oracle database using which we can extract the data. Suppose if you are not using the latest database, then you have to see the alternative for this. So there is other alternative as well. Using the native PLSQL procedures also you can extract the JSON data. Then I am extracting all the fields available in the integration response. So this is a very simple PLSQL block I have written in order to map the request, that is from the page item to the integration fields and in the response back to the page fields. So this is how mapping is happening. So with this set, you will be able to consume the Oracle integration, that is send the data, that is payload, in the request body using the Apex execute, and make use of the low code capabilities of Oracle Apex. We have not hard coded the URL and the credentials anywhere within the page or within any other database tables. So everything is happening within the Oracle Apex, be it web credentials creating at the application instance level or defining the endpoints at the application level. So this is how, by following just 4 simple methods, you will be able to call any REST endpoint of HTTP method. It need not be Oracle integration itself, any endpoint you will be able to call. Next, at the end, we will give some bonus tip how we can reset the data. Suppose if you look at this page, click on reset, it is going to reset the data on the page. So in order to create this reset functionality, we have to click on reset, and here I have created a simple button. And if you look over here, I'm going for the redirect to page. If you click on this, I'm saying clear the cache for page number 2 whenever it is being clicked. So this is the simple technique I have used. And apart from that, if you go to the application and go to the shade components, I have gone to this navigation menu, clicked on this, go to the call integration. So this is the page number. So whenever the page has been loaded, that is the page number 2, which is what you're seeing it over here. I'm giving the clear cache for the page number 2. So every time it is being reloaded, it will be clearing the cache for this page. So these are the couple of things which are bonus for you, which we can consider if you want to add the reset capability into your application. In our next class, we will learn how we can call the Oracle integration or any other REST endpoint and represent the data if you are getting an array. For example, here in the request, I'm passing the department and region, and in the response, apart from getting the form data, I'm getting an array, that is the list of employees available in that particular department and the region for a particular company. Suppose if you have such requirement wherein you have to get the response from the endpoint as an array and show using some region, here I'm making use of classical report. Suppose if you have this requirement, then we will learn in detail how to achieve the same in our next class.